good to have all of you in this open house with IIT Jammu. A quick introduction about the team GDC. My name is Subramanian. I am based out of IIT Madras campus. My colleague KV Anand is based out of Bangalore. He's on the call. Arvind, he's known to both IIT Jammu as well as IIT Madras and GDC. It doesn't require any further introductions. I have my colleague Sairam sitting to my right and Lakshmi Priya to my left. Surya, of course, she's going to be the program manager, and Vinobia, she's sitting in the corner just beyond the camera. And we have Rupali joining from Hyderabad. That's our team on the call today. And we would like to start this session with a short video about what GDC is all about. And it will be about a 3 to 4 minutes video. Please sit back, relax, and watch the video. We'll continue subsequently.
Now it is more clear when to say no.
Our initial thesis, I think it's proved.
We don't create startups, we create entrepreneurs.
Gopalakrishnan Deshpande Center, GDC, is a capacity building organization for Indian deep tech researchers, helping them pick up the skills and mindset for becoming an entrepreneur. It was set up at IIT Madras in 2017 through grants from 3 illustrious alumni: Dr. Gururaj Deshpande, Jayashree Deshpande, and Chris Gopalakrishnan.
We had looked at the model that US had propagated, the ICOR model, which Desh was one of the key drivers for that. We had looked at those models and wanted to actually learn from them and bring them to India.
We are not competing with the incubators or accelerators or any other entity in the ecosystem, which are all trying to help the startups. But what we do is very unique, focusing on the founder and ensuring that they don't build something that nobody wants.
Deep tech researchers with an idea of building a tech startup, even when they are not formally incubated, can apply for many of the GDC programs, all offered for free.
GDC's mandate is to work with any type of STEM institution in the country. It could be IITs, ISC, NITs, private universities, public universities, you name it.
I think the researchers and universities are in the business of expanding the human knowledge. But the question is, could you expand it in a way so that it creates economic impact and social impact, which can again feed back into the innovation system?
So the faculty is really our key focus because we are trying to influence the culture in these academic institutions.
GDC is not limited only to academics. We are very welcome, and we like to work with the R&D groups, whether it's in the national labs or in the industry.
The programs focus on 2 primary objectives. 1, imparting deep tech specific business acumen to the participants, and 2, helping them build the entrepreneurial mindset. But why is something like this needed at all?
Deep tech startups will not happen on their own. We have 100+ unicorns, but hardly any of them is a deep tech startup.
Just because somebody is very capable in their domain or technology does not mean that they can create successful businesses.
Who's going to pay? How is it going to make it into a business? And how big is the market? These kind of questions researchers never ask.
And whenever somebody makes a product of their own, it's like their baby. We fall in love with that so much that we do not think, whether somebody will accept that or not.
Over the years, GDC has helped thousands of researchers develop deep tech business acumen, helping them shift from a product-first mindset to customer-focused thinking.
I had an opportunity to be part of the second cohort of the Incubate program way back in, I think, 2018-ish, when they had started. And that's what actually opened my eyes to things like the lean startup model, customer discovery, and customer acquisition, and all of those things.
So in the first week of GDC, they told us you need to talk to customer without talking about your solution. It's very difficult.
Go out and talk to people, come back and then discuss and brainstorm.
So the milestone for GDC is to have 100 conversations in these 2 months. If you do 100 conversations, you will realize whether the idea is good or bad.
What we learned from GDC is it is important to be able to say no to 90 things so that you can focus on those 3 things which will bring you the maximum value.
GDC gave us a systematic approach to do customer discovery, and why is it important?
Some of that systematic nature has also come into the projects I guide here. So students who are doing their final year project with me, I tell them to establish that the problem actually exists.
You completely disconnect from your product and just look at the problem.
It's a program where you sort of like, it adds value to you as a person. This mindset is what actually is far more important. You can apply this everywhere, right? So
once that mindset transition happens, it's almost impossible to go back to the previous mindset.
Over the years, many GDC participants have gone ahead to build successful deep tech startups.
Our initial, thesis that something like this would benefit India, I think it's proved.
The experiment has proven, because we have done about 500 plus startups, we have gone to 100 plus institutions outside of IIT Madras, we have worked with 300 incubators, and we are getting more and more accepted by the community, the startup ecosystem.
We've had startups that come from places like Patna, even some interiors in Orissa.
Today we do about 100 to 120 teams every year. Can I do 1,000 teams every year?
It should not stay as a small pilot program.
Our success is when these programs are done at scale.
How can we create GDC-like organizations in other places, or maybe distribute GDC across other organizations?
It needs to become a nationwide program.
I think that video gives a quick glimpse about what we do in GDC. The next few minutes, I'll take you through quickly about IIT Madras and what we do in GDC. This will be followed by talk by Professor Navneet Kumar, who will talk about the innovation entrepreneurship ecosystem in the IIT Jammu campus. And then we have my colleague KV Anand will take you through about the Initiate program, what it is all about, what are the contours of this, what are the commitments required, and followed by we have Professor Shanmugha Das, who has been a part of GDC program earlier, and he will share his experiences as a participant. Of course, this took place a few years back, but I think experiences are still quite fresh in the memory. He will share about the experiences, and then we'll have 25 to 30 minutes of question answer sessions. Any doubts, queries can be answered. In the meanwhile, during the presentation, if you have any specific queries, please feel free to post it in the chat box there. We'll pick it up and curate and answer all the questions. And if you still have questions, please feel free to ask them at the end of the sessions. And it's going to be roughly about 85 to 90 minutes session today. And we'll stick to our time. And we'll start with a quick presentation about IIT Madras and what GDC is all about, its origin and how we have progressed so far. Is the screen visible to all of you?
Not yet. Still coming up. Yeah. We can see.
Yes. Warm welcome to all of you for this Initiate open house for IIT Jammu and other institutions near IIT Jammu. I think we'll talk about broadly these three areas about GDC, about Initiate program, and Q&A session subsequently. Yes, IIT Madras, all of you must have known that has been leading the rankings by National Institutional Ranking Framework for quite a number of years. If you look at the middle #1 rating, right from 2016 onwards, every year IIT Madras managed to be at the top of the institutions in the country. And in the overall category, we had a very long run right from 2019 onwards. We have been ranked #1. And Atal Innovation Index also, we have been ranked pretty high the past quite a few years or so. So both in the scope of learning, engineering, science, as well as in terms of innovation, IIT Madras has been quite in the forefront. A look at IIT Madras innovation ecosystem, which has evolved in the past probably a decade and a half. And it has taken quite a bit of effort to build the structure of innovation inside IIT campus here. And the picture here gives you a graphic details of how the idea from the extreme left gradually moves from pre-incubate to incubate to and then build a business across. And this looks very structured in a PPT, but in reality, it went through quite a bit of iterations, corrections, and changes in the past decade and a half. And those learnings and corrections put in place has made this institution to be one of the top-notch institutions in the country for innovation and entrepreneurship. At the extreme left, you could see in the brown-colored research and ideate circle is there, under which basic ideas get evolved. Innovation starts in the departments, in the interdisciplinary research centers, and very support structures operate like Entrepreneurship Cell and FedEx Smart Center, and many other centers operate out of the campus here, and that's where the researchers try to expand the knowledge by publishing papers, taking it to IP, etc. And if some of them are quite keen to take their idea forward, they move to a pre-incubation stage and then move out to incubator. I'll come to pre-incubation stage in a few minutes now. The incubator is just adjacent to our main campus, which houses several thematic incubators. Our main umbrella incubator is called IIT Madras Incubation Cell, and we have thematic incubators like Bio Incubator, Health Technology Incubator, Rural Technology Business Incubator. Pravartak is another incubator which is funded by the Government of India. These incubators house startups not only from IIT Madras but also from other institutions in the country, and they get support like any other typical incubator provides. Before the pre-incubation stage became popular, it used to be quite a jump from the research idea to straight away to incubate before even understanding what it requires to build a company. And this learning really brought in an idea called a pre-incubator, wherein the teams which wants to go through the incubation process, they go through a few facilities inside IIT Madras like Center for Innovation, C5, Nirman. They're all pre-incubation activities, and GDC plays an important role at the pre-incubation stage, where they help the research teams to understand what it means to build a business, which is distinctly different from building a technology or building a product. This understanding is what they gain through by JDC's program, and they get prepared whether they would like to take entrepreneurship as a career in their life, or they are good at doing research or working in a corporate organization. We help them to take this decision consciously, and those who feel they are good to go all the way to starting a company, they move on to our incubators and get themselves incubated and then build a business. On the extreme right, we have something called a support, where many organizations provide support to these startups so that they overcome the early rough roads in the early part of their career, the entrepreneurship journey, and make them to sustain, survive, and then move ahead, build strength in the legs so that they can start building a scalable business. Now, the pre-incubation stage, GDC is one of the unique organizations in the country which really works at the mindset of a researcher who invariably comes with a strong attachment to a technology or a product. And we help them to think, saying that a great technology is fine, but then if it doesn't solve somebody's problem genuinely in the market, then whatever may be the innovation we have built in may not deliver the business results in terms of revenue, profits, etc. This transformative thinking is what people go through in the JDC programs. I'll talk about a little more further about the genesis of JDC and the impact what we have created. And so JDC started in 2017 as a center of excellence by three distinguished alumni of IIT Madras, Dr. Gururaj Deshpande, Jayashree Deshpande, and Chris Gopalakrishnan. And their mandate is that can we create thinking about entrepreneurship in the minds of scientists and researchers so that they can think as a business rather than think as innovators. And the core idea came in from the US National Science Foundation's ICOPS model, which has been very successful in the past decade and a half in generating fair amount of deep tech science into meaningful solutions. And that success, as we've seen the video, Desh as well as Chris mentioned that can we bring those thought processes in India and expand this thought process to across STEM institutions. You may know that IIT Madras, GDC is not restricted to IIT Madras, but then it works with any STEM institution in the country and helps these scientists to think through and build businesses consciously. Right? His mandate is to create a disruptive startup ecosystem in the country. As Raghu mentioned in the video, there are no unicorns which can be called as deep techs which are current in the country. And our objective is that can bring in more deep tech based startups which can really solve some of the country's major problems and then become a self-reliant India in the near terms. And we had a fairly successful 8 years of ramp where we worked with close to about 150 universities and incubators in the country, and about 500 plus startup teams have gone through a program in which about 400 are faculty and remaining about 600 plus are entrepreneurship leads. It's important to note that the faculty have taken a very active involvement in understanding what is entrepreneurship all about, and this helps them to think clearly and then build the entrepreneurship capability among their own students who will be passing through the faculty's labs in the years to come. And the faculty can play an important role in making them to think whether the problem they're talking about is an imaginative problem or a genuinely important problem for them to solve. The video you saw Professor IISc Bangalore, Manish Arora mentioned that it's important that his students understands that they're solving a genuine problem while doing the research, thereby the possibility of the outcome can be into a startup, right? That's how the GDC has started somewhere in 2016-17 timeframe. Basic mission is, as I mentioned, to transform the capabilities and mindsets of the academic thinkers so that they can look at building a business and create an impact at scale. I think Indian universities have been publishing enormous number of research papers, and of late, the number of IPs have gone dramatically up. Can we convert some of those inventions into genuine solutions to the country? Is the core mission for GDC. And of course, by doing our programs with our science researchers and faculty, we try to reduce the odds of failure and probably improve the odds of success of some of these startups, ultimately seeing the daylight and building a robust growth business. And of course, the building entrepreneurial thinking among campuses will be the bottom line benefit which GDC looks for in its programs. We have a fairly detailed program structure. Originally, we started off with our core incubate program, which is third from left in this picture, and it is 8 weeks detailed boot camp. And before that, we have an initiate, which we launched about a year back, and there's been a fairly successful model where 2 weeks intensive training is being given to scientists and researchers to understand what it means to be an entrepreneur and where you would like to play your entrepreneurship game. And all of you are participating in this towards participating in the Initiate program. Subsequently, we have Inspire and Ignite, which are much more deeper level engagements for any startups. And over a period of 8 years, we had 77 cohorts have been done by us across multiple programs, and about 627 teams have benefited from our program, and over 200, maybe about 250 teams have gone ahead consciously after deliberating whether they are good to go as an entrepreneur as a career choice, and then they managed to take a decision forward, and ultimately about 250 of them have gone ahead and built a business. There is a substantial amount of funding, and about 500 plus faculty who have gained through this program. And interestingly, close to about 1/3 of the participants have been women, which is quite encouraging to know. And this number is either maintaining or growing as we go along. We do our programs. Well, that's the quick background about GDC and IIT Madras. And I'll now invite Professor Navneet Kumar to talk about the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem in IIT Jammu, and followed by KV Anand's talk about what is Initiate all about, so that you can get all your queries clarified. Over to you, Professor Navneet Kumar.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Such a nice presentation and overview of the impact GDC is actually creating and has proven, as already mentioned in the video. And thank you, the entire team, for coming forward to have open house, and then followed by, of course, a long 2-week long program near the end of the month. In fact, Professor Anand and Professor Arvind initiated this idea, and we quickly came up with the timelines and dates as to what could be the best way for such a program, and GDC being already a leader in the sense of reach, outreach, and impact. We are very happy to have joined hands with GDC, IIT Madras, and we believe that it is going to be fruitful going forward. Not only in the region, by the way, in the Jammu or the Valley, Srinagar, or Kashmir, or even Ladakh, but the nearby regions as well, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. It will have definitely a longer impact, and the country, our India, Bharat, is actually moving forward towards the progressive policies where the entrepreneurs are being encouraged in that sense. So thank you again, Professor, and the entire team at GDC for such joining hands on such a nice initiative.
Thank you, Professor.
Regarding,
Please go ahead.
thank you, sir. So, IIT Jammu actually, many of us might not be knowing. The Act was passed in 16 and we came into existence. So it has been close to around 10 years. And we are learning from the relatively older institutions like IIT Madras, the more relatively younger institutions like Hyderabad, Gandhinagar. We are learning. And that's the benefit we are having, that we are actually implementing very nice progressive changes which have come up from learning experience of older institutions like Madras, and we are able to adapt quickly. So that's something which is a boon for us, being connected with very nice professors and educators, I would say, not professors, I would say educators in the entire domain. We learned from those experiences, and we launched our innovation centers, which now has a couple of innovation labs, which are quite advanced, by the way. It houses, it's open 24/7. It is biometric accessible. All students can access anytime. And of course, that's where the innovation actually begins. And then, sir, we have a fully furnished running incubation center. So we name it as I3C. It's a Institute Incubation and Innovation Council. And there are a certain number of startups, at the moment 25 plus startups who are associated with us in the incubation center, and close to 10 have graduated, and they're doing fairly well. I don't exactly remember the numbers, but I think the graduated startups who have graduated have an accumulated revenue of about 20 or 25 CR in that sense. So I don't exactly remember the numbers, but these are the kind of numbers we are having, and we aim to go even push forward, just like GDC, where can they have 1,000? Can they reach 1,000 per year? So our aim is, can we reach 1/10 of that? So can we reach 100 per year? And we run cohorts headed by our Chief Innovation Officer, Professor Arvind, and in consultation with GDC professionals like Professor Anand. We run cohorts every 2 months approximately, and we do receive a larger and larger percentage of application from JNK. So that's where things become interesting, that the not only national policies, but state UT driven policies are also creating impact in the region. And this is what we have noticed, that of course the first cohort, which I remember had very little participation from JK entrepreneurs, but now the percentage is increasing towards 30, 35%, 40% of applications are coming up from JNK. And by the way, JK has a very aggressive industrial policy, which was approved in 2021, and it will be till 2031. So ironically, there is no GST. It's GST exempted if a startup is being launched, and an industry is being set up in JNK region. So it's a very aggressive policy, thanks to our Honorable Governor and the Honorable Prime Minister and entire team. By the way, the AIM, Atal Innovation Mission, is doing incredible job So all in all, it has been a really enriching experience till now. Getting connected with our entire team works very closely on innovation and incubation centers both, and we are also noticing, sir, that many school students are coming up. Not only for innovation but incubation. So we have received some applications who are ninth standard, 10th standard students for incubation program. So it things are changing. Hopefully, the 2047 vision of Viksit Bharat will come to fruition. With this, I hand over the entire table to Professor Anand. Thank you, sir. Thank you again, GDC team.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I think before KV starts, I just want to welcome Harvinder Singh sir, who's the mission head of Yuva mission of J&K. He's joined the call. Thank you very much for joining, sir. And you have raised your hand. You would like to say something. Harvinder sir, are you able to hear me? Probably not. Let's go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Professor Navneet Kumar. I think nice of you to give a broad picture about Jammu's progress. And these startups are coming out now from the undergrad level or the master's and PhD level?
Yeah, I mean, the larger percentage is UG now from undergraduate level. But there are many other budding entrepreneurs who have graduated, incredible ideas, but they were having no platform, only government based platforms. But it's a long process of approval. That IIT has managed to reduce drastically, and with help of GDC and other progressive platforms, it is going to be even faster, sir. That's what we believe.
Fabulous. Really quite nice to see the progress you've made in just about a decade, right? From 2000
Yes.
onwards.
Yes.
It's a fabulous progress you've made. And look forward to active engagement with faculty and students of Jammu and other institutions in J&K.
Yes.
Over to Kevin.
In fact, Professor, many of our faculty members are taking the lead. They are, getting more and more engaged in GDC programs and other similar programs. So many startups are getting launched through our colleagues.
Right. Great noise. Over to Kevin.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'll take a few minutes now to explain this Initiate program. And we've had a lot of registrations, but for some reason we have a smaller number of people who have joined us today in the open house. So for those who have not joined, and for those who have joined us today, we will still be sending the recording of the whole session, because what we are going to discuss now about the Initiate program, it's very important for you to know before you apply. So for the benefit of everyone, we will share the recording as well. I will now begin a short presentation about the Initiate program. Okay. So what is Initiate program? It is all our programs, not just the Initiate program. All our programs are high engagement, intensive. They are run in bootcamp style. They are not run as a training program or an academic course. There are no credits at the end of the course. So this is the program itself, even though it is only for 2 weeks, going through this will probably give a learning of 20 weeks. It's that intensive. So it is a high engagement 2 weeks program, and it is targeting, or it is for the benefit of, people who are on this call, people who are STEM faculty, researchers, students. And some of you may already, even while you are a student, you may have started working on an idea. You may be, even incorporated. So all for the benefit of everyone, and everyone who believes that there is an idea that is worth commercializing, or in the very early stages of trying to commercialize, but really have not made much progress or don't know how to go about it. And the focus of this program is laying the foundation for the entrepreneurial journeys. We call this a foundational program because the real foundation of, of an enterprise, whether it is a startup, whether it is a large company, but the real foundation of an enterprise is the founders. and the founder's mindset. If the founders do not have an entrepreneurial mindset, and if the founders are not fully committed to the startup, then the foundation is weak. Second, the founder should also know how to take an idea from the lab or from their heads all the way to the market, because there are a lot of misconceptions about how a startup can be created or how an idea can be taken to the market. And we will clarify all of those in our program. That's why we call this a foundational program. So if we've been able to achieve this, creating an entrepreneurial mindset, or at least making people aware of what is an entrepreneurial mindset and why is it critical for you to have as you are beginning your entrepreneurial journey, and where do you begin? These are the things that are really, really in focus in this program. And it is not about writing business plans or pitch decks. There are lots of startup courses or programs, even bootcamp, they call it, workshops, they call it, training programs, they call it, where they teach a lot of things. They teach you about a business model, a business plan, and they teach you some digital marketing skills. They teach you some fundraising skills. They teach you how to make good presentations and storytelling, etc., etc. But this program is not about that at all. So before you apply, you need to be very clear that this is not an academic course, or this is not a teaching program where you come for a certificate. We deal with something much more important, which is it's all about assessing your own readiness for entrepreneurship. First of all, not everybody needs to become an entrepreneur. Yes, there is a lot of push from the government and from everywhere that we want to create job givers and not job seekers. But it is not possible that everybody can become a job giver, right? And it's not, the journey of an entrepreneur is not what people have made out to be. On one hand, we have huge success stories. We talk about people who have, the Olas and the Flipkarts and the big companies which have become unicorns in a short time, and how much money they are making. They've recently gone public. This companies, all those things we hear about, and there is a lot of glamour around starting up, and there's a lot of glamour around entrepreneurship. But it is not necessarily the way it has been made out to be. We only keep hearing the one success story where there are at least probably hundreds of stories which are horror stories, right? So therefore, your own readiness for entrepreneurship, you need to assess. And then how do you identify opportunities? A business opportunity is not necessarily the same as a great idea. So people usually think that if I have a good idea, then it is a good business opportunity. That gets clarified in the program. So this is what the Initiate program is all about. And if there are any other views that you had or any other expectations that you had, we want to make sure that it gets clarified right away, even before you submit your application. So the gap we address through all the GDC programs, and particularly this Initiate program also, is that there is a lot of brilliant research happening in academic institutions, in STEM institutions, and there is a lot of money being spent, but only a very, very small fraction of the investment that has been made in research actually creates real world impact. And that is what GDC is trying to address. GDC is trying to bring more and more worthy and impactful ideas to the market, and not letting them sleep in the labs or in the form of a paper or a patent. And that is a mission, and this is the foundation for that journey. And usually people think again that money is a problem. I don't have money. Investments are not easy to get. But the real challenge is not funding or technology. It is the entrepreneur's mindset, their readiness, and more importantly, their understanding of who really needs their solution or their product or whatever they are creating. Without knowing that, without having any idea about who needs it, why, and why will they pay for it, we start believing that because it's a great idea, and because sometimes even I have had personal experiences with this challenge. So if I have a problem, I'm sure there are many people who have the problem. And we start convincing ourselves that, I'm not looking for, 1.5 billion people buying my product. Even if 1% of them buy, I'm still building a successful startup. These are all the stories that we start telling ourselves to convince ourselves that we are going to the market with a great idea. and those are not necessarily true at all. So that is a big gap, and that is one of the biggest gaps that we address. And therefore, the Initiate program plays the foundational role. And the outcomes of the Initiate program, there are 3 outcomes. The first one is your own understanding. When you go through the 2 weeks journey, we are not going to create a startup in 2 weeks. We are not even going to create even the first few steps of your startup in the 2 weeks journey. Some of you, if you have already created a startup, you'll realize that even though you believe that you have a product, you have a solution, or you are in early revenue, even we have had startups coming into this Initiate program who were in early revenue. And it is very difficult to digest that somebody who is already in early revenue does not have a foundation, and they come into a program like this and start building the foundation. So, but that happens. So you get a good understanding of what is entrepreneurship and what is entrepreneurial mindset. Are they the same? Are they different? And why is it critical? What are the different ways in which you can commercialize your idea? It's not, there is not just one way to do it. There are several ways of doing it. And especially when you're trying to commercialize research, you have options like licensing, technology transfer. You can create a startup, you can collaborate, you can create joint ventures. There are several ways in which you can commercialize beyond your patent. And the entrepreneurial journey and the founder experience, you will get a good understanding of that. And your personal readiness to start this journey, we will give you an opportunity to reflect on your own aptitudes and your own current situation and your readiness for entrepreneurship and your motivators and motivations and your mindset, more importantly. So we will give you an opportunity to do an assessment, a self-assessment of yourself. And that's not to evaluate and tell you you're good entrepreneur or a bad entrepreneur or, average entrepreneur. This is mainly for you to realize that you're already working with some capabilities and there are some things that you need to acquire, and it is possible. So this is the first outcome. The second outcome is, how do you identify opportunities, business opportunities? Today, because I have an idea and I have already probably started thinking about the solution or already building the solution, and therefore we have already, convinced ourselves that this is a great opportunity and this is the only opportunity because we are very focused. And sometimes there is a huge dilemma. Should I be working on 2-3 ideas in parallel, or should I be just focusing on one? And a lot of people will give you good advice, mentors and everybody will give you good advice. Just remain focused. Don't get distracted. So, but what we are going to do is we are going to ask you to take a step back and not get distracted, but actually see whether you are cornering yourself to the only opportunity that you are currently working on because you have already started developing the product. And is that really, a good idea? Because if that does not work, then what? And startups have got limited resources, not just in terms of money, but also your time. So therefore, how do you identify opportunities? And there is a structured way of identifying and evaluating opportunities. We have a framework, we have a tool, we will introduce that. And that is what you will be doing for the 2 weeks. Having understood what entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial mindset really means, having assessed yourself, you will also learn how to identify opportunities and how to evaluate them. And evaluation happens in different stages. The first stage is there a problem at all? And how do I know that there is a problem? I started by believing that there is a problem. I'm convinced that this problem is real. But do we have any data that really tells us that there is a problem? And immediately we will think that, yes, I have data because the air quality index in Delhi is XYZ, and therefore nobody will disagree that it is a problem. But is it a problem, or is it the way currently things are? The problem is not the same as the air quality index. The problem is not the same as, carbon in the air and so on. Therefore, how do you understand that there is a problem, and how do you get data to support that this problem is real? Maybe it is even worth considering or exploring this opportunity, and that is what will happen. And finally, you will also get a good understanding of the ecosystem. What is happening in the customer's life and what are the struggles that the customer is facing, and who else is already there in the customer's lives. And I am trying to enter the customer's lives through my world and my ecosystem. How do they meet? How do they match? We are not going to be able to just make something and put it out in the market and try to sell it. A lot of people now think that they can, if they make a good product, they can put it on, e-commerce platforms and then Amazon, and they start selling. And unfortunately, the problem is that they actually start selling. People start buying, but there is no idea why people are buying, and there is no guarantee that people will continue to buy it. So majority of the, businesses that started by directly making something and putting it out on Amazon or Flipkart or started selling also wind up within no time. So this is the truth and this is the reality. So therefore, we have to invest time trying to understand what is the business, the landscape and the ecosystem, who are all there, who am I going to be competing against, who am I going to be collaborating with, who are those people who will give me a license or stop me from doing business, who are those people whom I will depend on for material or supply of something, who are those people who will depend on my organization. So there are a lot of things that we need to know before we can start building a business. So that understanding will get established, and that is critical. And then finally, with all of this, you prepare for something called customer discovery, which happens in our next program. After Initiate, we have an 8 weeks program called Incubate. This is our flagship program. The Incubate program is meant to test all the assumptions that you have about your customer, about their need, about their problem, about their desperate need for a solution, willingness to pay. All those assumptions get tested in those 8 weeks in the Incubate program. This Initiate program is getting ready for that journey of testing and validating or invalidating your assumptions. So this program is for 2 weeks. The schedule, Surya will explain the dates. But in these 2 weeks, what will happen? The first phase of this journey is the 3 days in-person workshop. This happens at IIT Madras, usually when we do it there. And here we have an exclusive cohort for IIT Jammu. So we will run this program at IIT Jammu, 3 days in person. And we are very excited to see that a lot of people from outside IIT Jammu have registered. And I think IIT Jammu has done a fantastic job of actually, pulling people from all over the region, not just the state of Jammu and Kashmir, but from all over the region. And, it's very, very nice to see that the director of Mission Yuva is already here in this program. So that is the level of visibility and the level of commitment that IIT Jammu has been able to demonstrate. And so you will all come to IIT Jammu for a 3 days in-person workshop. And these workshops will focus on what you have, what you see on screen now. It's about the entrepreneurial mindset. Everything that I spoke about, we will deal with all of those in those 3 days. And after that, you have about 10 days plus 10 to 12 days of work that you will do on your own, but will be supported by us. There will be a webinar, an online session for about 3 to 3.5 hours in the second week after the program has started. And that is a great opportunity for you to come back and share your learnings between the first 3 days of workshops and the day of the webinar. You will also be able to, ask any questions that you might have, because when you start learning, you will have more questions, because this is not a teaching program. We cannot teach you everything, and then the questions are finite if you are teaching something. But because it is not teaching, the questions are infinite. And it is not something that one can anticipate. Only when you start learning, you will start coming up with questions, and all those can get clarified in the webinar. And so you will be doing, what will you be doing in those 2 weeks? You will be actually using the framework that we give you to identify opportunities and evaluate them through secondary research. Secondary research is, data that you can find from already available, sources, already available data. You may not have come across that data because we may not even have realized that this data is important to us, or we may not have bothered to find out. But in this program, you will realize why you need data and what data you need. And you will do that in those 2 weeks. And you may also speak to experts from this industry that you are trying to enter. And they hold a lot of valuable information that you may not find in published sources. So there is a lot of gap between what is published and what is practiced. So the experts will be able to tell you what is really practiced, what is happening in the real world. And this will also give you a good opportunity to understand the customer's context. What is happening in the customer's life? The customer is not waiting for our product or our solution. The customer is already doing what he or she can do to solve the problem for themselves. And if we don't understand what they are already doing, and if we think that they are helpless, they are stuck, or they're stranded, etc., we may be very, very rudely shocked when we go to the market. So understanding what is happening in the customer's lives today, how are they already solving it for themselves? And finally, we expect that you will move from a very inside out view of, I have an idea, it's a great idea, and everybody is waiting for it. From that position, you shift to, I actually know the market, or I understand the market. I think this is what the market really needs. Now I am going to start thinking about what they need rather than simply saying, I have something, please buy it. And at the end, there will be a closing workshop. This will also happen online. So the only first 3 days of workshops will happen in person. The rest will happen online. At the end of the program, you will present. You will tell us what opportunity during the 2 weeks that you found is worth further exploring and why. And what did your secondary research and the expert conversation tell you? Is it giving you enough data? It should give you a sense of direction. We are not expecting that you have cracked it and you have now figured out the business model, etc. But at least it should give you a clear direction in which you should be moving. And you will also have started becoming aware of both the potential and the risks or the challenges. So today, if we asked startup founders, early stage startups, in fact, we have tried doing this. They give you 100 reasons why their product is the best and why people will buy it. And when we ask them, give us some reasons why your startup will fail, surprisingly, they can come up with more reasons why it can fail. So, but we don't even think about it. So, and then what are your next steps? This is what the 2 weeks journey will be and what we expect from you. So you can expect from us this clarity and the foundation. And what we expect from you is you need to be present. You need to be fully present in every session. And if it is an in-person session, yes, you are fully present there physically and not just one person, the entire founding team of every startup. There are at least 2 founders in every startup. And there is a faculty lead who are also associated with the startup. So the team needs to be fully present. And if you are online, please turn the cameras on. Today, I see that nobody has, turned the camera on. I don't know for whatever reason. But when we are having our workshops, we want you to be seen as well. And participation, because this is not a training program. This is not a course. The only way you can learn is by engaging and asking questions, engaging. And these are the only ways in which you can learn, sharing your learnings with others. And there'll be a lot of learning from the other startups which are in the program, not just from us, but you will learn from the other startups, because all of you are going in a certain direction and probably maybe slightly in different stages, but there are a lot of learnings that can happen between the teams. So that's why the cohort-based design and also an instructor-led and guided design really works. And you need to take ownership, because we will not, even if you are a student at this point, we will not treat you as a student. We will treat you as a aspiring entrepreneur or already an entrepreneur or a founder. So therefore, you will have a lot of work to do. It's not just about attending the sessions. There will be a lot of work to do, which is why we keep repeating that we need your full commitment for 2 weeks. And there is a lot of things to do, because learning happens only by doing here and not by listening to lectures. And if one is not present, if there is a team of 3 people, and if one person says, I'm not available today, why don't you guys go on? I will catch up with you. It will not happen. It's not possible. So take ownership. And what we promise, once again, these are the three things that we promise. One, a clear understanding. Second, your own ability to identify and evaluate the opportunity. And finally, the foundation that you are building for the next step, which is truly, understanding the customer's needs. Who's the customer? What is the problem? Why do they need a solution? How urgently do they need a solution? If there are three segments of customers, one segment needs it more urgently than the other. Which market should I choose? And all these assumptions will get tested in the incubate program, and then you will be able to choose. Or you may start with an assumption about one segment. They may get invalidated, and that gives you an opportunity to pivot. So you will be making your critical decisions in the incubate program. This is the foundation for that. You will finally come and say this in the last day. You'll be very clear. So far, I've been sitting on the fence. I was not really sure if I wanted to build a business or not, but I came to this program because I think I have an idea that is worth commercializing. Not just an interesting idea, but I think it solves some real problems. I really don't know how to go about it. So that's why I came to the program. So then you will have clarity. Yes, I'm ready for this journey and I want to go further. Or you may say, look, now I realize I thought something else, but now I realize that the journey is very different. I need some time to think about it, or I need some more time to know enough about this idea. And with better clarity, I will proceed. I need some time. Or I thought this is the idea, and this is the idea that is going to really sweep the market. But now I realize that the idea is not necessarily what the people are waiting for. And it's not just I need a little more time, but what I really need to know is, should I be working on this idea at all, or should I be working on a different idea? And that I'm going to start exploring now. So any outcome, some people may actually come and say, look, entrepreneurship is not at all for me. I don't think I want to become an entrepreneur. This is scary, or this is not what I expected when I thought I should build a business. I thought it's something else, but now I realize, no, I don't want to do it. Or I'm definitely not ready for it. Maybe sometime in future, but right now, no. So all these outcomes are great outcomes. We do not judge, we do not evaluate any startup that comes to the program. We do not say, oh, if you have decided to go ahead, you're good. And if you have decided to drop out, you're bad. No. If you have got clarity, and if you are making the decision with clarity, we have done our job. That is how we measure the success of our programs. We don't measure the success of our programs by people saying, yes, I want to go ahead. Right? So this is what you will get. That's what the Initiate program is all about. I'll ask Surya to quickly take you through the dates, the program dates, and some mechanics.
So your next step, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
So your next step immediately after this is applying for the program. So we'll be circulating the application link, and you should be submitting your application, one application per team. So for the open house, you would have registered as an individual, but for the program, we need an application per team, which has to have one faculty lead and 2 entrepreneur leads. Okay, and after we receive your applications, we'll be having one-on-one interaction with each team, and post that we'll be onboarding the teams for the cohort. Okay, so the last date to submit your application will be 12th of April. Please do not wait till the last date. So once you receive the application link, start submitting the application. Okay, and this is going to be the structure of the 2 weeks program. So we started with an online open house here. And when the teams are onboarded for the cohort, we'll be starting with the 3 days of in-person workshop, which will be week 1. So 3 days of in-person workshop will be at IIT Jammu. And as Anand sir mentioned, you will have 1 weekly webinar and 1 closing workshop, which will be an online session. So all the online sessions will be through the Zoom platform. Okay. And in between each sessions, every team will have to do an office hour, and you will have some presentations to work on. So we'll be providing a template, and you'll be working on the templates, and you'll be presenting it during the webinar and the closing workshop. Okay, so these are the sessions which I told, 3 days in person at IIT Jammu and 3 to 4 hours of online session over Zoom call. And you'll have to have conversation with the stakeholders and expert conversation between each session. So at least 25 per week. And office hour is something apart from these 3 sessions, which will be conducted as a whole cohort. This office hour will be a one-on-one meeting with the GDC instructors. So each team, based on your convenience, you can book the slots with the GDC instructor and you can clarify your doubts or questions during this office hour. Okay. And yeah, these are the dates. So 3 days of in-person workshop will be from 1st May to 3rd May, which will be from 9:30 to 5:30 p.m. And the webinar will be on 8th May and the final closing workshop will be on 15th May. And these are the timings. So we'll be sharing the schedule in the application forms. Okay. So yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you, Surya. We will be sharing the recording of today's proceeding along with the calendar so that you have a clarity as to what are your time commitments expected. And accordingly, you can plan to participate in the program. We go to the next step. We would like to invite Professor Shanmugadas, who has been part of our GDC program earlier, quite early in our journey. And he had gone through the full-fledged programs. And we thought we'll request him to share his experiences of being a part of GDC program. Over to you, Professor Shanmugadas.
Shanmugh, you're unmuted, but you cannot hear you.
Not able to hear me?
No.
No. Shanmugh.
Can't see him either.
I don't see. He was there in the call earlier.
No, he's there.
He's there. But I don't know. We can't hear him.
Okay.
Arvind, do you want to quickly give him a call?
He is joining. He's got a message. He posted a message joining.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Yes. So, I think you should mute your other device. You're logged in from 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, there was some issue with the computer. So thank you, Professor KV, inviting me to share my experience, and it is refreshing to see our GDC team. And so I meet Professor KV and Professor Arvind often, but yeah. So it was a very, very transformative experience for us. So I'll just briefly cover what, how GDC helped, or how our startup journey. So my name is Shanmugadas. I work as an assistant professor in the mechanical department at IIT Jammu. And my background is primarily on aerospace engineering. So we have been working from, I think, 2023 to 24 time. With some of my students, we were doing a project to build a something called a gas turbine engine. Okay, you can think about it's an aero engine that we were building, and then we have also started building a UAV. So nowadays, you might have heard about a lot about UAVs in the recent aerial warfare. So we are well familiar with these things. So in 23-24 times we were building this, and we had some interaction with army people as well, who we understand as our customer. And then I think through Professor Arvind, we came to know about GDC program. We applied for that, and we came to IIT Madras in 24 December. So then I heard, okay, the program is about customer discovery. So I asked myself, we are building drones, our customer is army. So what is there to discover, right? So I think in the one of first or second lecture, KV asked me, who is your customer? I immediately told, yeah, it's army. So we know the customer, so what to discover further. Then the first point they told us, forget your products and talk to the customer. So now whom we should be speaking. So in our case, we thought we will speak to different people in the defense forces. So it can be soldiers, majors, colonel level officers, and we talked to people in the Ministry of Defense, or we went to events and exhibitions, DRDO or so. So the idea is that talk to customer and most importantly, talk to the customer in person. So we many times we rely information, that comes in news feeds, or we hear some reports, or I mean a lot of information comes indirect, and we take our conclusions, or we make a lot of understanding from that, though it's not incorrect, but the value that added by talking to the customer directly, right, it was immense. Meaning when I talk to a ground level operating soldier, right, like what are his requirements, or what are his pain points, it was very, very different when we talk to somebody in higher up. And you talk to somebody in defense procurement, their requirement or their needs, the way they operate was very, very different. So different perspective we got while talking to the customer. So which is what, or the customer discovery that we had mentors to, and we had office session with GTC. So a lot of inputs and corrective actions given by the GTC team, and we had a lot of interactions. So though not getting into the details, so we understood that the product or the way that we are building is really, really different that the market needs, because we know that the purpose of any business is to make money. Meaning though we are so passionate about technology, we want to build products, we understand it to a greater extent. Unless we cannot sell it to the customer, right, the startup or the system won't be sustaining. So understanding the process, understanding their needs was very, very critical steps, and it helps us to build a good amount of understanding, build relationships. It helped us to iterate on the product or the technology that we are working on. We could figure out possibly we should build certain things initially, which has a better possibility of getting into the market as compared to something that the grand vision or grand scheme that we are building. So working on a grand scale UCAV, which could do a greater mission, or should we start with something that can a customer can buy it initially? And especially for deep tech startup, it takes time for our product or technology to get evolved, and the customer requirement, the customer also is getting evolved, because he's they're not relying or depending on only on us, right? There are a number of resources for them, and they can buy things from either from us or from anyone different. So how do we evolve our product development suiting to the customer needs, which is also changing with respect to the the situation and time? So GDC gave us, if you ask what is the biggest takeaway from GDC, it is, I would say, that is the clarity. For me as an assistant professor here, what kind of startup I should do, or this is the right approach that I should do, or should I do it at all, right? So that kind of clarity, and with respect to product, for our team members, we had other two co-founders as well, and so the kind of evolution or the change that we went through the process was really, really great. And at the end of the program, we got reasonably good idea, and we still continue the customer discovery. So it's not about a 2-month or 3-month session, and after that, it's getting over. So we continue to explore, we continue to talk to people, and again, this in-person conversation and assessing our hypothesis or our idea, that has helped us a lot. So I would say that this will be a very, very immensely helpful program to all of you, and you should participate in the program, whether you're interested in a product or a technology, or you're in a very early stage to build, or you're thinking to build it, or you have reasonably progressed to any stage. So this, irrespective of the product that you are building, it is many times we really fail to understand and assess the customer or customer needs. So that would be the greatest or the takeaway that we can get from GTC. So that was our brief experience, and I'm happy that you are hosting this program at IIT Jammu, and I could see many participants. I think I'm seeing 30 plus, or that number of people are there. So a good number of participants we expect, and let it be a great success. If any other specific points or questions anybody has, I can answer with respect to our journey, and otherwise, thank you.
Thank you for that. I think, even in this short time, 24 December to now, there are a lot of things that have happened after the GDC program, right?
Yes.
Maybe you can quickly tell people, that will be inspiring for people to know how much you have progressed in such a short time because you had the clarity.
Right. So, I mean, understanding the requirements from the forces helped us to, size our products, or the way to configure our products. We could figure out certain things that we can initially put up. And this customer discovery immensely helped us in our, fundraising activities as well. That is another part. To operate, we need money. So when we talk to our investors and other institutional supporters, right? So we could raise significant money. We have a closer commitment up to, $1 million US funding. So from the private investors, and we have got a project from Army. Again, as I told, the customer discovery also helped us to build relationship, exactly understand the requirements, and that helped us to get a project again from the Northern Army Command to build the UCAV system. So the getting the user inputs, working with them, has helped even to identify the initial set of products, and also to help for the funding and other activities.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking time and joining us today. And
That's a pleasure.
we will certainly look forward to seeing you again, coming and encouraging the participants in the workshop.
Yeah, surely it will be a pleasure to work with them and learn. Yeah, so it's I look forward to it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Subbu, over to you.
Thanks, Professor Sramadas. It's been very pointed learnings you brought in a short time, and validating your assumptions by talking to the right people in the Army probably enabled you to build a product according to their needs, rather than building your own product and thinking that they'll buy yours. And you also mentioned that it also helped you to build funding source for your business. And I think funders look forward to, do you have real customers, and are they willing to pay money for you, and are they growing customers? These are the questions funders ask, and they get a right answer. Probably they believe that they have a good investment opportunity to put money into the startups. I think quite a valuable inputs you brought in, and as Kevi mentioned, during the course of 2 weeks, if you can spend some time with the participants and share, encourage them, it will be a very good boost for the participants, right? Yes, I think that brings us to the what we call last section of today's and it's a Q&A session. Any specific questions you have on the program, we'll be quite happy to address that. And as I mentioned earlier, my colleagues will post the application link on the chat box. And apart from that, we'll also be sending a detailed mail along with a short video of this program, so that we can get to understand, see the video again, so that you get the full picture about what we're talking about, and then fill in the applications before the deadline. And that will help us to understand your business, what stage you are in, and probably help us to conduct our programs a lot more efficiently, right? So now I think the forum is open for you to ask questions, and we'll all wait for your, we'll be quite happy to respond to your questions.
I think Arvind sir had some comment. I don't know whether he's able to speak now.
Yeah, I can. Good evening, all. It was a great session. I saw everything myself, and the experience shared by Professor from IIT Jammu, those were remarkable. The thing is, I saw this program initiate and then incubate. This is perhaps for the students of universities, because you have one faculty lead. That was my question first. And second, we are incubating many people. Like this year, we have selected 11, but we under Mission Yuva, and I must tell all, and thanks for letting me in. We under Mission Yuva are trying to create 1.35 lakh enterprises and generate an employment of around 4.5 lakhs. So that is one component. But then the other component of new innovative enterprises, we are going to create 500 with an innovation hub in IIM Jammu and incubation centers in 14 big universities of J&K. And we would like to collaborate with IIT Madras also for setting up incubation centers in various districts also. I've already spoken to Professor Arvind, and he has already guided me how to go ahead with that. And apart from this initiative, we'll be having more collaborations, I hope, if all of you agree with it. But the thing is, are those 500 incubatees would be requiring guidance from all of you. That would be my request. Apart from this initiate and incubate programs, if we can plan something with Mission Yuva. So that's all from my side. I'm looking forward to learning from these courses and perhaps not directly but indirectly getting associated with these initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we will be very happy to explore and see how we can participate in your mission. And we definitely are looking forward to it.
Thank you.
We're also thinking about programs where IIT Jammu can play a fulcrum role in that geography so that they can be the host institutions to expand the innovation entrepreneurship program. And we from GDC would be quite happy to associate ourselves if IIT Jammu takes a lead and initiative to push it forward.
So I'll, Subbu sir, I'll meet Harvinder sir next week. We'll figure out, because I think GDC's programs, how to deliver at large scale to all the entrepreneurs is what you're going to look for, right? Across the incubators. So I'll discuss with him and I'll come back next week.
In fact, if you remember in the video we played in the beginning, both Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, Deshpande, they mentioned about scaling in a big way so that this knowledge can reach a larger number of STEM institutions in the country, so that a percentage of the scientists can look at converting their research output into meaningful solutions.
Right.
And that's a basic spirit in which we thought we'll also request IIT Jammu to play this role. So I'll probably await your feedback, Arvindji.
Again, one thing, IIT Jammu is one of the incubation centers that we have. And whatever we do with IIT Madras, it would be through IIT Jammu, because IIT Jammu is our pioneer institution and we cannot do anything without it. Second thing, my first question goes unanswered. I just needed some reply to that. Can our incubatees also participate in this without having any faculty lead?
So the incubatees can participate. The faculty lead basically is someone who also can vouch for the technology or vouch for the capability of the team, because when we are building technology solutions, and if we have a brilliant idea, but if we don't know how to execute it and we need help, so the person who is acting as the faculty lead, or sometimes called the principal investigator, or sometimes just a technical guru or technology custodian of technology advisor, etc. So we would like them to be at least associated with one such person. And therefore, we are not just talking about a nice solution, but we should also be capable of building it. So in the case of Professor Shanmugadas, for example, the students were the entrepreneurial leads, but Professor Shanmugadas himself got involved in it. And in his case, he also is, an entrepreneur. He is an aspiring entrepreneur himself. But sometimes the person who's getting associated with the team may not want to become part of the startup or become part of the business, but will still be available to guide them on the technology and making sure that, they are able to build the solution. So to that extent, an association with someone is required. And here, it is not a challenge. The incubatees can actually find somebody from an institution like an IIT Jammu or any such institution in the region to join as a faculty lead. That's not a problem.
We already have a concept that all these incubatees would be assigned to one of the incubation centers that we have. So we can maybe request those incubation centers to provide a faculty lead. That answers my question. Thank you so much.
Correct. Yeah.
So there's a question coming in from Aman Pandey. I'm a solo entrepreneur lead and in the first year of my college. Can I join the program? That's a question coming in from Aman Pandey. The answer is that this program is meant for entrepreneurial teams. We believe, and based on our own long years of experience, single entrepreneur-led organizations have a lot of difficulties in sustaining. So we find that invariably minimum 2 co-founders based startups have a larger success possibilities. And that is why our condition saying that any team coming inside would need at least minimum 2 co-founders to start with.
So the one thing that I can add here is, I don't know which college you are from, Aman. Are you from IIT Jammu? I don't think he's here. He's here?
He's there, but I think he's from Delhi University.
Okay. So if you are able to get a faculty from your university to become part of the team and get, if somebody else is aspiring to become an entrepreneur who is also interested, because what we also know is that the idea that you come to this program with is not necessarily the idea that you are going to go to market with. So to that extent, we are not going to force you to come with an idea and you need to stick to that idea. In fact, your idea should change if you have clarity. But the work that needs to be done during the program, you cannot do it alone. It's not a course where you can sit in the class, listen and learn. You have to do some things and you need at least one or two more people with you to do the work. And also there is a lot of, brain work that is required. You need to be able to discuss with some people. You can't do it alone by yourself. That's the reason why we need you to come. Each of you will individually benefit, but at least come as a team, because during the 2 weeks, you will have to work together.
There are many sessions where you need to work as a team and then arrive at conclusions. So one person really will not benefit by having a solo entrepreneur. So Aman says that he's from Delhi University.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. And I think as KV Anand mentioned in his early part of presentation, it's a 2-week program, which feels like a 20-week program. That's the amount of effort that requires to go through the entire 2 week. And if these type of commitments are put in place, I think results are fantastic. I think Professor Shanod Das mentioned very clearly, saying that even well beyond the program, he tends to use some of the learnings in his progress towards building his enterprise. And to an extent, what you learn is more like a lifetime learning, which can help you, whether you are a scientist, researcher, or entrepreneur. These learnings can come in quite handy for the participants, really. And as I mentioned earlier, and KV also mentioned, this is an initial primer program. And once you go through the 2 weeks and are convinced that you would like to take entrepreneurship as a career opportunity for a student, and they would like to pursue further before they really incubate a startup, we would like to welcome them to our flagship Incubate program, which is a DST branded Incubate program, which happens for about 8 weeks. And at the end of 8 weeks, you will have a clear problem solution fit and identified a market segment which has got a potential to grow. And a lot more confidence can be in the team to go about incubating a company and then building a business for a scalable level. So that's a pathway available for any participants. And to an extent, this initiate program is more like a initial entry teaser program before one leads into the 8-week program. So it will be a good opportunity for any young entrepreneurs. And it's a fact that all our programs are free of cost, and we don't charge any fee to any participant or even a host institution. And the 8 weeks program, what we do, the initial 3.5 days is in-person workshop in IIT Madras campus, and GDC takes care of the costs of all the travel, accommodation expenses, etc., for all the participants. So that it's a phenomenal amount of learning opportunity without a cost attached to it is available, and if you're able to make use of it, it will be wonderful. So if there are no further questions, we can bring this session to a close now. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll follow on this conversation through emails for you to send in your detailed applications, so that we can have a very meaningful and engaging sessions of 2 weeks in IIT Jammu.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you
So much for all your participation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.